The Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show. Here we go.
The show flowing and jump into something that I like to talk about. A coach on his third year. So we come over here to Missouri Tigers. We got Elijah Drinkowitz, a fourth year coaching, third year here at this school. Overall, he's 23-13. Right here at Missouri, he's 11-12. His offense, he's his own offensive coordinator. Don't ever get that twisted. But his defensive coordinator is my man Baker. Now, he does great against losing teams since he's been in this conference, but he struggles to beat the big guy. He's 1-12 versus the power teams in schools. So this guy, you know, you got to get it together. I don't know if maybe Missouri is giving him the athletes that he needs to be equipped to do this, but he's going to have to get over that hump at some point, but he's got to do a lot of work to make it happen. His offense was scoring about 29 points a game. It was upside down because the defense was giving up 33 points a game. That's never a good mix right there. On offense, he's 179 on the ground, 233 in the air. On defense, he's giving up 227 on the ground, but only giving up 206 in the air. So if he could slow down, and that, you know, that's kind of these are the stats you kind of look at to blow another way, because if you look at a team that's giving up 220 rushing yards on the ground, but only allowing 206 in the air, which is pretty decent, you're looking at those schools, they have good pass defense, but it could be that it's just so easy to run on them. There's no reason to pass. But I don't know how it's gonna get addressed in 2022. But I don't know. Third year coach, I gotta lean on his side a little bit. He does get the returners, 7 on offense, 7 on defense, 5 seniors on both sides. So he did do the right thing. Some players are barred in, but I mean, you're Missouri. How far do you come up in the SEC, Big Ragoo?
Not too far this year. Here's why. I got really the most productive part of this team. And let's talk about Drinkowitz. I'm going to touch on him real quick, though. I agree with you. I'm all about the third and fourth year, you know, coaches coming in. But I think in his case, you know, he was part of that revolving door at App State when they had like 3 coaches in 3 years. And he was like a 1-year turnaround coach there, and he had a successful season. So he kind of benefited from what they had going on being in that system. And then he went over to Missouri. So I'm not saying he bit off a little more than he can chew, but I think they might have gave him a little more accolades than he possibly deserved because of the success of it at App State. But not saying he's a bad coach, but just, you know, he's got his way of doing things. And I agree, you know, he did get some stuff done offensively with the squad, but defensively, like you said, you can run up and down the field on them all day, and there's no reason to really air it out if you have success doing that. And that kind of maybe plays into his passing numbers on the defensive side a little bit. But it's going to get ugly for him here at quarterback and running back because I think he's a little light. He's going to have to develop some talent there, and that's where we're going to see his coaching ability on the offensive side. So even if they didn't have Vandy in their division, they'd be the last place team. But you know, but they do score points. You know, they have scored points in the past. They've shown some offensive proficiencies where they're able to put points on the board in the SEC, which that speaks volume in itself. So I don't know. It's going to be the jury's going to be out for me. I'm going to have to watch this team a couple, 3-4 weeks before I probably get a good solid read on what they're going to do on the offensive side. Defensively, we already know what they do. So, you know, it depends on how the offense keys in and what the defense looks like early on. You know, we might see some high numbers against this team here, and maybe it might be because it's going to be hard to read if they don't put a lot of points on the board. When I say a lot, I'm talking like last year this team averaged their defense gave up almost 34 points a game, but the offense scored close to 29. So, you know, those you do the math on that. That's like 60 points a game. So We'll see how they fare out. I'm going to be interested from a total perspective with this team, depending on what the offense does early on and whether they make any improvements on defense.
Yeah, well, on offense, he did make one of the biggest recruiting efforts. He got
Yeah.
young kid named freshman wideout 5-star recruit Luther Burden. He was highly touted by Georgia and Alabama and decided to come on over to Missouri. So that was a great accolade for him. He does return a decent offensive line. But like you said, we're not really sure what's going to go down at the quarterback position. And then there's nobody. Yeah, there's nobody specific that's going to run the ball. So he's lacking in the skill position. But, I mean, you can always – rooting in the defensive line is always great. I'm not too sure how far a wide receiver is going to take you, but a good offensive line will definitely make a difference. And then here on the defense, like I said, he's returning 7. 5 of them are seniors. And he had the plug-and-play players from all over in the defense as well. Only got few returners in some spots. But this year, we'll have to see how it looks. It could be a dog to bet on if this team is really, they're buying into the system. I definitely look at here's my bet look at this one. I definitely look at this team out of conference. When it comes in, they put, SEC versus Conference USA or, something way off. This is the spots where they'll probably do well. When it gets to the meat and potatoes of the SEC, that's where I plan for them to get the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah, well, that's going to be early on. The first 3 games, we've got Louisiana Tech, Kansas State, and Abilene Christian, and then it's all SEC sledding from there up until they play New Mexico State before the last game of the season when they play Arkansas. So you got 3 early looks and a real late look.
Yeah, so maybe 4 or 5 wins for them in this year, and they take it to the bank. They learn off of it, and maybe he gets more players to believe in the system, and his 4th year be where he peaks out a little bit.